Hey, good morning, everyone. It's Saturday morning. It's Glenn Kellaway from the basement. I wanted to do a video this morning, and I was just watching my friend Steve at All the World's a Stage's channel. He did a live chat last night. I think it's going to be a monthly series on progressive rock. And he had his partners in crime, Alex from Beer and Vinyl, and FVA, French Vinyl Addict. Interesting conversation. I'm going to watch it in stages. I haven't watched the whole thing, but it kind of motivated me to do this video this morning and have a little chat about just genres of music in general and prog rock. And I find this whole thing very confusing. So, being a guy who grew up in the '60s and with the Beatles and whatever else, I don't recall music being defined in genres. There was good music and bad music. There was rock music or pop music, the music of my generation versus the music of my parents' generation, and it was all in one big friggin' pile. And I can't remember the first time I heard the word prog rock, and it definitely wasn't. Man, I don't even know. Even like when Yes came out and stuff like that, it was just like I didn't like Yes, so I just said, "Nah, they're crappy." I didn't say, "Oh, I don't like prog rock." I didn't even know what prog rock was. Like for instance, loved this album, Court of the Crimson King. I'm currently reading a book called A New Day Yesterday. It's a thick frickin' book, man. It must be 1,000 pages. Just I should have brought it downstairs with me. It's upstairs on my nightstand. It's actually my second time reading it because there's a lot to absorb. But the gentleman who wrote it starts off talking about the song Itchaku Park by the Small Faces, which goes back to, what, 65 or 66? He kind of points to that as kind of a starting point of when music started to, I'm going to say, progress rather than be prog rock. He did not refer to it as a prog rock song. He eventually comes to the point at the end of the first chapter that says this is the father of prog rock, this album. And I agree, but at the time when I bought this album, it was just a great album. Like I said, there was no clear definitions as far as I remember. Maybe someone can correct me. Maybe somebody remembers it differently. But I don't even know if I'm a big fan of. There's good music and there's bad music, and we all have our own opinion of it. I mean, clearly, if you're talking about, old country music versus jazz, there's a difference. You know what I mean? But there's so many gray areas here. Let's talk about them. Pink Floyd, are they a prog rock band? They get mentioned in prog rock. I don't get it. They're not a prog rock band in my world. They are a band that certainly were experimental, pushed boundaries. Everything's progressive, like the word progressive. I looked it up in the dictionary. A change, an improvement, enlightening, experimental, opposed to maintaining things as they are. That could be anything. Like the Beatles. Are they a prog rock band? I mean, look how the boundaries they pushed. The term definition prog rock, characterized by classical influences, keyboard driven, lengthy compositions, unusual time signatures, unusual instruments, improvisation. Agree with all that stuff, but you could take those terms. I mean, the time signature thing I think is very definitive, but man, let's go forward here. Bela Fleck and the Flecktones. How many different time signatures they used in their music? They're a bluegrass funk band. So is that modern prog rock or prog progressive something? I don't know. Improvisation. I mean, you could talk about Cream. they improvised a lot in just a blues format, and they're not prog rock. So I just there's it's how do you define this? It's impossible. Rush, are they a prog rock band? They were fans of prog rock band, and they probably had were inspired by a lot of progressive rock, but they're just a hard rock band as far as I'm concerned. Jethro Tull, they always get included in prog rock. I don't get it at all. When I bought this album, which is one of my all-time favorite albums of all time, Aqualung, I didn't buy this going, oh, this is prog rock. That was 1970, 71. No, it was just a great rock album, and it's still just a great rock album. Procol Harum. The song "In Held 'Twas in I" off of Shine On Brightly, totally progressive rock, I think. It had elements of all of these things that were mentioned in the definitions. So, but one song, as far as I'm concerned. The rest of it is just great music. Peter Gabriel, the leader, one of the founders of one of the all-time, considered one of the great prog bands of all time, Genesis. Is his solo career prog rock? He still, to me, if I was cataloging all my music by genre, I would put Peter Gabriel's albums under prog rock. And I don't know why, because it's not prog rock at all. It's more world music and singer-songwriter to me. But hey, if you consider that progressive, I don't know. So here's my top 10. I picked 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I didn't pull them. 6 prog rock albums that I think are definitely prog rock. In the Court of the Crimson King, I showed that one. Close to the Edge, and the Yes album. 2, and the Yes album might even just be a good rock album. It's that's borderline on that. Caravan. Now there's a band that used all these classical influences, keyboards, but also great guitar in their thing, lengthy compositions, unusual time signatures, unusual instruments, improvisation. Perfect example of prog rock. Caravan in the Land of Grey and Pink. Absolutely. How about a more current album from like 2015, Steven Wilson's Hand Cannot Erase? That's kind of a rock album. I guess I don't know if I want to include it as a prog rock album, and I did. So there I go. There's my confusion again. Selling England by the Pound, Genesis. Yes, Genesis, Caravan, and then there's bands like Soft Machine and Camel, and there's a ton of them that are definitely prog rock bands. But I'm telling you, I don't get the whole Pink Floyd, Rush, Jethro Tull, Procol Harum, Peter Gabriel. There are bands like, I know Steve mentioned it the other day when he was talking about kind of a commercial for his chat last night, and he mentioned Styx in Kansas. They're not progressive rock bands. They have that. Did they push the boundaries a little bit in their first couple of albums? Yeah, were they musically advanced? I get, yeah, good musicians. But they went into the studio and made these polished, commercial-sounding records. And that's why I don't like it. It's too safe. It's just too safe. I don't like those bands. I don't consider them prog rock at all. I just consider them commercial rock bands. And yeah, I'm going to leave it at that. So I'm really looking forward to some comments here. Let me know. I guess my whole wrap up is that there's good music and bad music. I hate defining music, categorizing it. It's really, there's too many gray areas. So thanks for watching this morning. We'll talk soon. Take care.